is Reham Khan. She's joining us from London. Hello, Reham. Welcome back to WION.
Thank you, Palki. Thank you very much for having me.
There's a lot of news that's coming out of Pakistan. What do you make of the opposition movement against Prime Minister Imran Khan?
I think this has been a long time in the offing, and I think it's a case of for many analysts, for many commentators, for the public. I think that they have wanted Mian Nawaz Sharif and Maulana Saab to join arms and to see this resistance against the government of Imran Ahmad Khan Niazi. And I think that this is it's really nice. It's been very warmly welcomed across the board, and I think, as I said, it seems to be very focused and very purposeful this time. It doesn't seem like it's a half-hearted attempt, and all I can say is that we wish that it had happened two and a half years ago, actually.
Right, the crackdown on the opposition parties has intensified in Pakistan. The media is facing curbs. And at the same time, Prime Minister Imran Khan claims there's an India hand, at least behind Nawaz Sharif, though he has nothing to substantiate this claim. Why do you think the Prime Minister is dragging India into this?
I don't think that anyone takes what Imran says any seriously now. And I think it's just, if it's not comedic relief, it is quite sad, actually, because you see what he's done is to sort of implicate the Prime Minister of Azad Jammu Kashmir and former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, 3 times elected Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, and of course the former Prime Minister Shahid Khaqan Abbasi in one of the cases that has just recently come to light. Although Imran says that he has nothing to do with it, the government and the cabinet have distanced themselves from this official sedition charges. But in interviews, what he's saying is just laughable. Honestly, it's tragic, if not funny, to say that India, if the former prime minister is talking about democracy. The former prime minister is talking about the rights of the people. The former prime minister is talking about vote ko izzat do. The argument is for civilian supremacy. He has never said anything in any of the speeches that we've seen so far, or even in the past, anything that would indicate any kind of Indian hand as such. And to be honest, if India wants democracy in Pakistan, and if India wants civilian supremacy in Pakistan, then I think that we have nothing to complain about. So I think it's just because Imran has no more cards to play, and the treason card is just as conveniently used and as flippantly used as the blasphemy card is in Pakistan. So this is a tried and tested card which has failed, and I think it just shows that Imran is in a state of panic and that they have absolutely no argument left to defend themselves. And it's just, the defense of the indefensible. So obviously saying that it's an Indian hand or Indian agenda behind the Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif is just him clutching at straws.
Right, and especially for a Prime Minister who came to power on an anti-corruption plank, the case of General Bajwa must have hit the government very much. What do you think it does to the image of the Pakistan government?
I think just recently in an interview, Imran has said that I would not be a coward, and if somebody demanded my resignation, I would have that officer give him marching out orders. And if that were the case, I mean, Imran doesn't have the gall and the guts to accept a resignation by an officer who's not in uniform anymore, who's in a political role as a spokesperson. And I think that with the Asim Bajwa scandal, it's not about an individual also. It's because we have to understand that Asim Bajwa is now not in uniform, but is heading the most important project in Pakistan, the CPEC. And so any kind of insinuation, even if it's false, needs to be proved otherwise. So not only that the government should have accepted the resignation, but I think that Asim Bajwa should have stepped down himself so as not to jeopardize any future plans that he's obviously supervising or is a spokesperson for. And I think that this is now, because the scandal is out there, I think it must be left to us and the opposition to pressurize some sort of judicial or some sort of investigation into the scandal or the claims that Asim Bajwa has these companies overseas. And I think that is something that the opposition and particularly the PDM need to look very closely at, because I don't think that this is something that can be left at Imran's will to decide whether he accepts a resignation or not.
Right. We at WION track Pakistan very closely, and we've seen this sort of gradual slide. The economy is in the doldrums. We know that the FATF sword hangs, and we've also tracked the opposition movement, the opposition coming together against the Prime Minister. The minorities in the country are struggling to survive. Would you say that this is among the worst performing governments that Pakistan has seen?
This is the most dismal performance by any government, and that's a huge thing for me to say. But it's absolutely true. We have never seen this state of affairs. Not even in martial law dictatorships, we have no money coming in. We have no control over the law and order situation. We have a huge issue with potentially a sectarianism threat. And I think that we are, and it's because there's huge job losses and poverty. If you look at the economy and the way this government intentionally has crushed the rupee against the dollar, and the way the stock markets have crumbled because of this personal vendetta that Imran has against his political opponents. I mean, for the last 2.5 years, we have had no conversation in parliament because many of the political opponents, or many, I mean, even the opposition leader has been in custody, has been behind bars. So we can't actually have any legislature, any discussion on very important bills, like, for example, the rights of minorities or the rights of anyone in Pakistan. I mean, we have seen the worst kind of fascism, the worst kind of controls on media. We have the leading print and media journalists taken off telly. One of them, the owner of the biggest channel in Pakistan, is still behind bars. It's unexplained fascism in Pakistan. And of course, the economy is not helped when you have someone who is such a fascist. It, of course, affects consumer confidence. You've seen the consumer confidence index recently, where 4 out of 5 Pakistanis feel that there is no hope, that there's no future. And they also feel that this government has no direction. It's completely rudderless and has no direction. And I think that is a severe indictment. So it's not for me to say, it's what the public is saying.
We'll have to see how much platform and voice do these sentiments get in the Pakistani media, given the state that you just mentioned. But Reham Khan, I'll leave it at that for the moment. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you, Palki.